Does that sound like these people came from someplace else?
No.
How come it's in the military document, but yet these so-called leaders who have this document always keep telling these children they were brought from someplace else when they know these people are bound to this continent by heritage, and they're looking for some heritage somewhere else? They're out to damn lunch. Now you understand where they have the so-called leaders are actually working as agents for Central and Federal? Now, read that again, the whole paragraph.
Preliminary memo, Department of Defense. This memo is being submitted in lieu of a full report from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That report is now in preparation. There will be many cities where the minority will be able to put into the street a superior number of people with a desperate and dangerous will. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage and knows that political asylum will not be available to him in any other countries. The greatest concentration of the minority is in the Deep South, the Eastern Seaboard, the Great Lakes region, and the West Coast.
There you go. Now, that's a military document, right? Now, point made. What does that have to do with etymology and the corruption or connotative linguistics that is necessary to keep them from understanding stuff like this? That is absolutely as direct as it can be. And yet they would look at that and talk about, when they brought us here, the fact that that paradigm exists because they can't damn read. Islam, give it a mic. And all they need is a few generations to fulfill that paradigm. Like Brother Mason said, they burned books. And it took, a couple hundred years they brought us to this darkness. It's no secret about them burning books. So why do we keep on acting like we don't know that they did that, and as if it wouldn't have an effect? And then try to use the miseducation to solve the problem of the miseducation and disrespect the etymon, which is the truth. Well, go ahead. Excuse me. Go ahead, sis.
The deception is so great that it actually creates a veil on the mind.
Yes.
That you cannot see the truth at certain times, because your mind is just so corrupted with the lies that even the truth can be right in front of you and you still won't recognize it.
Beautiful. Now, this is where this statement comes in. They have eyes and cannot see. They have ears and cannot hear. I come amongst my own and they receive me not.
But
they claim to know the book.
But
go ahead.
Because they receive not the love of the truth, I will send strong deception that they will believe a lie.
So they've been following after the Romans, right? Following after the Romans, Roman Inquisition, Spanish Inquisition, against the Moors and Yahudi, who are falsely called the Jews, right? Both the same people, hair like lambs or skin like burnished brass. And here they're going, they can't buy or sell without the mark or the number of his name, 14th Amendment, and which is the problem that we have right now. And what is in the same book they say they understand? It says the time has come that every man, woman, and child must confess their own and worship under their own vine and fig tree. Translate that into civil action. It's called nationalization. It's called honoring your mothers and your fathers. And what is it with that in nature of law? Go in the law book when you look in the common law. It's the capacity to connect to the ancient traditions and customs, the archaic traditions and customs, and thus trump the Roman law, the civil law, and other forms of law. Outside of that, you have no standing, because you must be in your proper person to have standing, or the courts automatically have jurisdiction. And how does that convert into common language? Being yourself. In propria persona, Latin. Being what? In one's own proper person. So you see how law and history goes together? That's why they will not teach it together. However, it's our duty, right? And so we can, like we were talking earlier, you can go in our communities in any direction, to the north, to the south, to the east and the west, and you can find a spy center. And the poorest communities support them and don't have any civic organizations. And they're called great circles. They're called churches. And they will, charge that that's Jesus when it's really Constantine. And so they not only lie on Jesus, they accredit him with something that the very book they claim to know, which says he's a Jew, and then you talk about any Kabbalistic lessons, they look at you cross-eyed. That's the devilness. And they start that stuff. So when you really study us, a lot of the things that we look at in another way is really a story about us and our relationship with these Romans. It really is. But people need not look at it from a spooky perspective. They need to look at it for what it actually really is. And this stuff is really not complicated. But again, I want to bring that out in support of the importance of etymology far more than many people give it credit for. It is not an issue just for grammar. For grammar is the issue of preserving culture. So at what point in any science, in any discipline, can it not be important? When it covers every walk of life. Because culture is transferred and preserved through language.